Dear students, welcome to JCE Connect. Subject Engineering Chemistry. In the earlier classes, we have discussed about some of the primary air pollutants like carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, hydrocarbons, and particulate matter. In continuation with that, today we are going to discuss about one more important primary pollutant, that is mercury. Mercury occurs in nature either naturally or it is man-made. Volcanoes, natural mercury deposits released from the ocean are some of the natural sources of mercury, whereas coal combustion, waste incineration, and metal processing industries are man-made sources of mercury. Other sources of mercury include batteries, electric switches, lamps, dental amalgam, skin lightening products, etc. Mercury exists in various forms like elemental form, inorganic salt form, or organic form. These forms of mercury differ in their degree of toxicity and their effects on the nervous, digestive, and immune system, and on lungs and kidneys. Usually, the inorganic salts of mercury are corrosive to the skin, eyes, and gastrointestinal tract and may induce kidney toxicity if ingested. We can control mercury by avoiding the processes and products that involve mercury. For example, burning coal is a major source of mercury. We can avoid that by promoting the use of clean energy sources that do not burn coal. Similarly, mercury is being used in gold extractions. We can avoid mercury by promoting the other gold extraction techniques which does not involve mercury. We can look for the alternative products such as batteries, thermometers, lamps, and skin whitening cosmetics which does not involve mercury, and implement safe disposal of remaining mercury containing products. This is how we can control mercury. The next primary pollutant that we are going to discuss is lead. The most common sources of lead is dust and chips from old paint and automobile exhaust. Lead also come from metal smelting, lead acid battery manufacturing and other factories that use lead. Lead enters water through contact with plumbing, lead-based pipes or solder that leaches into water through corrosion. Because of the similar size of lead plus 2 ion and calcium plus 2 ion, once lead ion enters the body, it distributes throughout the blood and accumulates in the bones. Depending on the level of exposure, lead can adversely affect the nervous system, kidney function, immune, and cardiovascular systems. It is known that lead ions inhibit at least two enzymes that catalyze the biosynthesis of hemoglobin, as a result affecting the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. Apart from this, infants and young children are especially sensitive to even low levels of lead, which may contribute to behavior problems and learning deficits. Elevated levels of lead in the environment can lead to decreased growth and reproductive rates in plants and animals. We can control lead pollution by designing the lead smelting plants in such a way that the lead materials are lesser exposure to wind and air. We can eliminate lead from the drinking water by processes such as RO, distillation, and filtration. We can also avoid plant absorption of lead content in agricultural soil by maintaining the soil pH levels at 6.5. Now, let us discuss about secondary air pollutants. What are secondary air pollutants? Secondary air pollutants are those which are not directly released into the atmosphere but forms when primary pollutants react in the atmosphere. For example, ozone, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, etc. One of the major secondary air pollutant is ozone. Ozone is trioxygen, that is, it is an inorganic molecule with the chemical formula O3. It is produced in the upper layer, that is about 20 km above the Earth's surface in the stratosphere, which absorbs UV light. The formation of ozone is given by the following reactions. The ground level ozone forms when primary pollutants such as oxides of nitrogen and volatile organic compounds react with sunlight. Ozone is a powerful oxidant producer and is used in many industrial and consumer applications related to oxidation. Ozone has both positive and negative effects on the plants and animals. Ozone, when present in upper atmosphere, that is stratosphere, it prevents the entry of damaging ultraviolet light from reaching the earth. Whereas ozone, when present at ground level, because of its high oxidizing potential, can damage mucus and respiratory tissues in animals and also tissues in plants. Hence, it is very important to control the ozone at ground level and prevent depletion of ozone in the stratosphere. The ground level ozone can be controlled by avoiding oxides of nitrogen and volatile organic compounds from industry and automobile exhaust. Whereas we can protect the depletion of ozone layer in the stratosphere by avoiding some of the chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons, which are used as refrigerants, and volatile organic compounds, which are often found in vehicle emissions and byproducts of industrial processes. Chlorofluorocarbons are relatively stable in the lower atmosphere of the Earth, but in the stratosphere they are exposed to a UV radiation and thus they break down to release a free chlorine atom. Each chlorine thus formed is capable of attacking several ozone molecules as shown in the following reactions. We can see that in the third reaction there is a generation of chlorine atom. These free chlorine atoms again react with ozone and the process continues, resulting in depletion of the ozone layer. Now, what are the effects of ozone layer depletion? As ozone layer depletes in the stratosphere, it creates deficiency of ozone, a hole in the layer. This hole enables harmful UV rays to enter the Earth atmosphere. These UV rays have got various effects on the skin. They impact on human body as follows: skin cancer, eye damage, immune system damage, accelerated aging of skin. These are some of the problems associated with UV rays. We can control this by encouraging the growth of plants that produce oxygen and discouraging deforestation and control the release of ozone depleting substances such as chlorofluorocarbons. Thank you.